Alright, welcome. Today we are going to be reviewing and driving this lovely M2 Comp. So here we have a 2020 M2 Comp in this gorgeous black, and it is an incredible car. So this car has the Nankang CRS wheels on it in the rear and in the front. On the rear it's running a 265, and in the front we are running a 245. So nothing that different from stock in terms of tire size, but going from the Michelin to the Nankang CRS and putting on the semi-slick definitely makes a big difference in terms of grip. And I mean, I'm just standing here staring at it, and it's just such a good looking car. So in terms of differences between this and the original M2, well, this is an original M2, but the non-comp edition, I should say, is the non-comp edition has the N55 engine, which is an incredible engine. It is a 6-cylinder single turbo motor that has been used in a host of BMWs previously. It was used in the 1 Series of that generation, it was used in the 3 Series as well, and they used it in a couple of the X cars as well, like the X3, and I believe it was in the X4 as well. So awesome motor, really good for reliability, and definitely a flagship motor for them. And can make really easy power and doesn't have an insane amount of red flags with it. This runs, the M2 Comp runs the S55. Now, that one change in letter means a lot in the BMW world. So the one thing that people had to say about this car was that it wasn't a real, some people didn't call it a real M car because it wasn't running an M motor, which I think is bullshit, because the handling on the car, the way the original feels and everything, it is still an incredible car. But then they came out with this, which has the S55, which is a twin turbo closed deck as opposed to open deck 6-cylinder, and it shut up a lot of people because this came out of the M4 of the same generation, the F82, and it's just such a nice motor. It just gives you everything you could ever need, and it sings, and it's beautiful, and it's so good. Like this is just, every so often a manufacturer really gets it right, and BMW get it right a lot of the time. The E36, it was incredible, one of the best cars of its generation. The E46 as well was amazing. The F82 M4 is a good street car, it really is, and the new G series, like the G87 M2, is an incredible track car. It really is. But something about this car, the way it just sings to you, how light it feels through the steering, and the emotion that this invokes. It has just enough tech. It has just enough tech that you have a lot of creature comforts, but not too much that it gets in the way of everything. In the new ones you have this big long screen, and it just takes away from what this car is meant to do, which is just drive. And I sometimes feel that more is often less in a car like this, where we're just driving and using the car for what it's intended for. It's just an absolute joy. So who's this car for, right? What type of, if you're looking for a car and you're wondering why why you shouldn't get an M2 or why you shouldn't get an M2. Right? Well, first off, drive one. I cannot stress this enough. If you're on the fence, or even if you're just interested and you've never driven an M car before, or you've never driven anything performance related, and you're wanting to get into it, go and drive one. This car finds a way to blend old with new amazingly well, and it gives you all the power you could ever want from factory. And for the price point that you're paying, you can pick up an M2 Comp these days for 70 grand, 75 grand, and there are a lot of cars in that market, right? Between 60 to 80, you can find a lot to choose between. You've got your AMG C63s if you want a bit more power and you want that V8. You've got the Alfa Quadrifoglio, which is an awesome car on the Ferrari V6, right? 2.9 litre, which is again a whole different driving experience. You've got the M3s of this generation, the F-Series, have come down a bit, so have the M4s, and you can pick them up for around the same price. And then obviously you've got your outliers if you want to go. You can find a really clean example, like an FDRX7, some really, really clean Evos. I saw this gorgeous Evo 6 that was up for sale, and he wants about 65 grand for it, and it's an incredible car. It would be a lot of fun, but when you go to the racetrack, you see these everywhere, and you see the new ones as well, absolutely, but you see these cars everywhere. So it gives you that drive like you're in the E36, like you're in the E30, where it's so light, and it's obviously it's not as light as those cars, but it's so light that you feel everything, and you're so connected to the car, and it's so dynamic when you're driving it that you just want to drive it more and more, right? Like you look at and this is the question, this is the argument. You look at the new G87 M2, and that's weighing in at about 1720 kilos, or somewhere around there, which is about 300 kilos heavier than this. And yes, it's making more power. Yes, it is a faster car. It does have a faster Nordschleife lap time, and it is also an incredible car. But does it do the same for your soul that the new M2 does? And I can't answer that for you. And now I haven't driven a G87 M2, not yet anyway, but man, this car sets the bar pretty high. And there's just the weight distribution, the way the power comes in, so smooth, so predictable, and it stays cool, it stays happy, and it's just wow. It honestly feels like you're playing an instrument when you drive this car. You get the revs right, you get your braking just right, and it comes together. Now, I could say a gripe that I have with this car, I guess, would be that it's almost a bit too nice, right? It's a bit too easy. I've seen quite a few people at the racetrack and through the mountains who this car inspires a certain level of confidence because of how compliant it is and how nice it feels. So I feel like it doesn't get angry at you for anything. You can throw whatever you want at it, even if you're driving the car the wrong way. The traction control system and the ABS system on it is so good that it's pretty hard to fuck up when you drive this thing. It's not a car that is going to try to kill you if you're not careful with it. Now, obviously, you can throw another 200, 300 horsepower at this thing and have a completely different experience. That's to be expected. But it is the perfect car for somebody who is looking to get into the performance market, right? It really is now. But I am pleasantly surprised with what this gives you. If you are looking for a car that does it all, then this is a great. You can convince the wife that this is a great family car, because I was driving it through the city and I wasn't stressed. I had no blind spots, whereas in the Supra, blind spots everywhere. There were no blind spots. There was nothing that made me stress out about this car. It still has a old-fashioned handbrake, which I love. I think it still gives you that connect to the car. And when this thing does step out, it just gets even better. It's the gift that keeps on giving, because the chassis is so predictable and the gearing is great for day-to-day driving. It's great. And then now when you're through the back roads, it sings and it eggs you on more and more, and it wants you to give it. And I'm not even close to pushing this thing, right? And it's just alright, so after driving the car for a bit, what is the consensus? Thoughts, feelings, and pros and cons. So, out of the gate, the car's incredible. It really is. It does everything that it needs to, right. And it's a great car to be in. Like, there's not that much bad that I can find about this car, to be completely honest. But in terms of pros and cons, pros is the driver feedback and the feel. And I didn't push this thing at all, right? I was very, very, very tame with it, because it's not my car and it's pointless, right? We're on the street. But you can still get the feeling of what this car is capable of and how well it responds to your inputs, and how much later you can get on the brakes than what you think, and how eager the car is to do exactly what you want it to do. The rear's not stepping out on me anywhere. It's not bouncing around. It's not like the suspension geometry is completely wrong. It's a really, really well designed and well built car. So those are the pros. And again, for the price point that you're paying, for that 70 to 80 grand, really, you're getting an awesome piece of car. And as far as I'm concerned, it's massive value for money. It really is, because if you were looking to spend 150 or something, I'd say, look, yeah, maybe there are some other things that you could get instead of. But even then, like, up until that price point, this is a really, really good contender for best car under 150. Now the cons. So, doesn't have Apple CarPlay or anything like that to make the user experience nice and enjoyable like you'd expect. This is a 2020 model. I would have expected it to have CarPlay, and it's something so small, but when you use the car on a day-to-day basis, it makes such a big difference. And that's what Rich said to me as well. He said, look, I'm going to need to get Apple CarPlay or something, because it's just the way it's set up currently is not cutting it. And even after driving it for a few hours, I 100% agree with him. The user interface, the UI, needs a refresh, and they really should have come out with something for it. So that is a bit of a con. And then also the gear shifter. So for some reason, whenever I put it into reverse, or when I go from reverse to first, there's always a bit of a delay. So I'll put it into reverse, and I'm expecting to put it into reverse and be able to go for it straight away. And instead, I have this about second delay of lag which for whatever reason, it needs to wait, select the gear, and then go. So when you're in gear and you're rolling through the gears, it's fine, it's awesome, it feels incredible. But going into reverse and neutral, you have to wait, and putting it into first, you also have to wait. It's a very small wait. It's less than a second, but that's still way too long. Like I was trying to do a 3-point turn, and I needed to go reverse, reverse, and it made me wait longer than I should have to. In a car like this, there should be no delay with it. So those would be my gripes and things that I don't like about the car. But other than that, everything else is just it's a great car. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys all enjoyed. If you have any recommendations or any thoughts, then please leave below in the comments. Thanks, guys.